More comps are coming up for Shedeur Sanders, and they're not. He's not being compared to some of the high flyers, big time players in the NFL right now. Even like the pocket passers, like a Jared Goff. He's being compared to a guy who some people aren't like. Like they don't like this. Let's talk about it. The comparison. Does it make sense? Is it fair? After the bumper, stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYr YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because I upload all the time. Now, Shedeur Sanders, rated as one of the top two quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. It seems like more and more stuff continues to come out to me in a not so positive light for Shedeur Sanders. This one, I wouldn't consider it that. I wouldn't call it this, but a lot of people took offense to this comparison that is being made by ESPN employee is it Tim Hasselbeck or Matt Hasselbeck? One of the Hasselbecks. Both of them play quarterback in the NFL. And he's comparing Shedeur Sanders to one Andy Dalton. Let's take a listen to what Mr. Hasselbeck had to say in his comparison of Shedeur Sanders. Let's take a listen.
I think I agree with everything Sam said in terms of the strengths of Shedeur Sanders. He is smart. He knows how to play the position. I think where it gets really tricky is like you're talking about rarefied air when you're talking about drafting a guy at the top of the draft. And look, he just is not as physically talented as you would like to see. I mean, it sounds crazy considering he's Deion Sanders' son, but like that's just the case. And so, look,
So when they say this, I'm gonna stop it periodically. It's a short clip. I promise I won't stop it too many times. But when he says he's not physically talented, Shedeur got measured in at the combine. I think he was 6'1". It's like 210, 215, something like that. So that is it all world, like just measurables. And then on tape, all of it's pretty consistent across the board. Anybody that watches Shedeur Sanders and evaluates the NFL draft, evaluates quarterback, says he doesn't have the strongest of arm, right? Like the ball doesn't pop out of his hand. I think Shedeur has an adequate arm. I can see what they say, though. Like when the ball pops out of Cam Ward's hand, it looks different. When the ball pops out of dudes with big arms, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, it looks different. People say Shedeur Sanders doesn't have a strong arm. I think Shedeur Sanders' arm is good. And I think it's very good and good enough to play in the NFL. So those are what he means by he doesn't have the physical traits. Only 6'1", only about 215. He's not an athlete, right? Like he doesn't run. And then he doesn't have the strongest arm in the draft or as strong of an arm as like a Caleb Williams, a Jaden Daniels, a Drake May that came out of the draft last year.
Comp on Shedeur Sanders has kind of been in that like Andy Dalton range. People have compared him to Kirk Cousins. Look, those are compliments. Both of those guys have thrown for over 250 touchdowns through their NFL career. Both of those guys have led teams to the playoffs. But when you're talking about the top half of round one, look, again, you're looking for elite traits, and he just doesn't have those. Now, look, you're going to have to beat the market at quarterback, so you're going to have to draft a rookie quarterback at some point because of what's happened with the Deshaun Watson deal.
And so essentially what is that? I can't remember if that's Matt or Tim. It's Tim Hasselbeck. So essentially what Tim Hasselbeck is trying to say without saying it, he's like, Shedeur Sanders is not worth the number 2 overall pick because they're discussing the Browns in that segment. And he's saying that when you draft guys that high in the draft, they have to have some sort of wow factor. Like simply completion percentage can't be your wow factor is essentially what he's saying. Like I'm trying to wrap up everything he said because it was only a 1-minute clip. But it's like when you take someone at the number 2 spot in the draft, that high in the draft, you don't take Andy Dalton that high in the draft. You don't take Kirk Cousins that high in the draft. Kirk Cousins, if I'm not mistaken, was a 4th round pick. You don't take Dak Prescott that high in the draft. He was a 4th round pick. You don't take like Andy Dalton, I think was a 2nd round pick. But even then, that's not the number 2 overall pick. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, Andy Dalton was the 35th pick. So yeah, it was the 2nd round. He's at the top of the 2nd round. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, and now some people have defined that as disrespect. It's like, how are you going to disrespect Shedeur Sanders and compare him to Andy Dalton? See, a lot of people forget Andy Dalton was a 9-year NFL starter, took the Bengals to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 times, like or maybe even it might have been like 5. I think it was like 5 years consecutively. Andy Dalton took the Bengals to the playoffs. They just always lost their first game. He just didn't win very many playoff games, but he always had them there, always had them consistent, never had them looking for a quarterback for a long time. All right. And that's why like they didn't get their quarterback until Joe Burrow, because Andy Dalton was a figurehead in Cincinnati for a very long time. Andy Dalton, AJ Green, like Andy Dalton was a dude. And so to me, no, it's not disrespect to compare Shedeur Sanders to a guy who made, I think, 3 Pro Bowls, who was a starter for the Cincinnati Bengals for almost a decade, and 3 Pro Bowls when Pro Bowls meant something. And, has had a relatively good NFL career. Now he's a backup, right? Like he's a backup, but he's thrown over 250 touchdowns. I think he's at 253 touchdowns, almost 40,000 passing yards. Like, that's not a bad NFL career, especially for a dude taken in the second round. The problem is, what kind of career is that for a dude taken at number 2 overall? Is the Andy Dalton 3-time Pro Bowl career the one that you want to have for a guy that is that the ceiling that you want to have for a guy at number 2 overall? When you take a dude number 2 overall, you're hoping, I'm emphasizing hoping, you're hoping that he's a Hall of Famer. Like that's your hope. Obviously, you hope that with any pick that you have, but number 2 overall, you want him to be a multiple-time Pro Bowler, multiple-time All-Pro, and be on the borderline teetering of Hall of Fame. Like when you're drafting that high. And the reason why you're hoping that is because typically when you're taking a guy that high, he has some type of special feature. Like think of the other dudes that are going to be taken that high, like Travis Hunter. Like the career trajectory of Travis Hunter is Hall of Fame. Abdul Carter. Like these dudes have special, like Travis Hunter is a specimen. Abdul Carter is a specimen. And they looked like it each and every single week out there on the college football field. One won a Heisman Trophy. The other had 12 sacks and just dominated games, including playoff games. Even Cam Ward, like you could see, now granted, this is considered a weak quarterback class. But even Cam Ward, to me, has moments where he just looks special. But so does Shedeur Sanders, to me. I see moments. I've been projecting Shedeur to be the number 1 pick for 2 years. Now it doesn't look like he's going to be that. It looks like Cam Ward. I knew it was going to be between Shedeur and Cam Ward since once one was at Washington State and the other came from Jackson State to Colorado. I've been predicting Shedeur Sanders to be the number 1 overall pick for 2 whole years. So it is interesting to see the Andy Dalton's Kirk Cousins comparisons, because one, it's not a bad comparison. Like I'm not gonna act like those guys are soup sandwiches or garbage. No, those guys have really good NFL careers. Kirk Cousins, one of the highest paid players in the history of the NFL, maybe number 1. I think it's like him and Rodgers. They're like, he's right up there with Aaron freaking Rodgers as far as highest paid players ever. And so to get that means they see, like, somebody sees the value in you. And I don't think it's disrespect. I think Shedeur should look at it as a challenge. Oh, you think I'm Andy Dalton? Oh, you think I'm Kirk Cousins? I'm here to prove to you that I'm better than that. And the team that takes me, Raiders, hopefully, the team that takes me, you're going to get a better version you're going to get me as a better version than Kirk Cousins, Andy Dalton, someone I'd like to throw in there, Geno Smith, because that's the Raiders' current starting quarterback. And I think Shedeur can definitely do it. I don't think Shedeur should see it as disrespect. I think he should see it as a challenge. Hey, challenge myself. Forget to have a career like Kirk Cousins and Andy Dalton. I'm going to challenge myself to have a career like Brady, to have a career like Manning, to have a career like Aaron Rodgers. Like, I want to be one of the legends of this game. My dad's a legend. I want to follow in those footsteps at a different position, in a different time, in a different era, carve my own lane, and become a legend as well. So when they talk about the greats in the history of the NFL, they have to bring up not one, but two Sanders. Not one, but 2 Sanders. Deion, the first, and then the sequel being Shedeur. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Shedeur Sanders getting the Andy Dalton treatment by Tim Hasselbeck leading up to the NFL draft. My name is JeffLightsYJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because I upload all the time. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.